this is the thing. Manchester United, I thought last season with Man United was the worst season we've ever had in Premier League history. 8th was egregious. 8th was terrible. We broke so many records, bad records, when we finished 8th last season. And I thought, bro, like 8th was worse than Moyes. This is crazy. This can't happen again. Currently, if I look at the table right now, Man United is 16th. And yes, we're in a Europa League final, but we are 16th in the Premier League table. And it's starting to, it's like, who do we blame? Do we blame the players? Do we blame the manager? There's so many questions. I want to get your, because I can give my view on the, I don't want to say the outside looking in, from the inwards and from a United fan and what we need, but from the outside looking in, this is Gazy, innit?
From the outside looking in, this is disgraceful. Yeah. Like, we can point to Spurs who have lost 20 Premier League games, but Man United lost 17. Lost 17 Premier League games. Man United 16th in the Premier League table. It's the race to not finish 17th. Your last 2 games are against Aston Villa and Chelsea. There's no guarantee you get a single point between now and the end of the season. Like, it is, you might not get to 40 points. It is, honestly.
Do you know what's so crazy? Shout out to Tox and Football Fans Tribe. They were singing, I am running the way to read my 40 points. Bro, do you remember when 40 points, used to be the... Yeah. So where 40 points used to be the parameter in which, like, if you're safe. We're not even safe, bro. If this wasn't the worst 3 Premier League promoted teams we've seen, we would be in relegation. And bro, let's not get it twisted. We've been in relegation form not only for the whole of 2025, majority of 2024 too, because this started 2024, calendar year 2024. So for the past 2 years, we have been in relegation form.
And the thing that bothers me, or doesn't bother me because I'm not a United fan, but how United fans have accepted, I was about to say mediocrity. This is not mediocrity. This is way below mediocrity. You are 16th in the Premier League table. There are only 4 teams that are below you. 3 of them are some of the worst teams we've ever seen. The other one is Spurs, who you play in the Europa League final. This is abnormal. And this is a room full of Amorim fans, right? I back Amorim. I think he's a very good manager. You back Amorim as well, despite the poor results. But let's have some honest conversations, right? If Ten Hag was still your manager, would you be 16th right now?
No.
You wouldn't. Amorim is blessed because he came in halfway through the season and he doesn't have his own players, didn't have the summer transfer window, didn't have the summer to kind of ingratiate himself with the squad or instill his philosophy or tactics. But say you reversed it, say Amorim started the season and he had this form and it was January right now and you were 16th, he would be sacked.
Yeah, he would.
So he's been given grace by the fact that he came in halfway through the season. But let me relate it to something that I know in terms of my football club. The season where Chelsea came 12th, I heard about it every single week. I heard about everything. How was Chelsea 12th? How was Chelsea 12th?
That's true. That was 12th.
12th. And that was viewed as an absolute disaster. Thomas Tuchel got sacked in that season. Graham Potter got sacked in that season. And by the end of the season, we let Frank Lampard go as well. 3 managers' heads rolled because Chelsea finished 12th. Man United 16th. And no Man United fan wants to entertain the idea of Amorim maybe not being the guy for the long term. My issue is, in the summer, you are going to give him the keys to the kingdom, as you should. But to me, that's an unbelievable risk. Can you imagine turning around and saying, okay, here's the keys to the franchise. What's the track record? Oh, you finished 16th last season. And if you don't win the Europa League, oh my goodness.
Gosh, yeah.
Like, the Europa League has now become everything. And we talked about it before, me and you, maybe not on the podcast, but elsewhere. For Tottenham, the Europa League is about the trophy itself. It's about winning silverware. They haven't won a trophy since 2008. For Man United, the silverware doesn't mean anything. If you win it, you're not parading that trophy. You're tucking it away in OT and saying, thank you for papering over the cracks. But if you lose that final against Spurs of all teams, and Amorim's first season ends trophyless, and you finish 16th or 17th, which is very feasible, oh my goodness, what a crossroads you come to in the summer. Because it's not like his manager plays 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, or 4-3-3. You are going to buy him specific players to fit his system. That is, for me, I would be terrified, because I'm not saying that overnight he's become a bad manager. At Sporting, one of the most coveted managers in Europe. Mm-hmm. Everybody wanted him. Mm-hmm. You pulled trigger early, said, come now, otherwise it's not happening. He said, I'm coming now. I get it. I still back him. I'm not saying he should be sacked. But I think we should have some honest conversations. If Manchester United, who I've said many times, I thought their nickname was champions when I was younger because you were that dominant. If you finish 17th in the Premier League table with no trophy, no Champions League football, no European football at all, I think there's serious questions need to be asked about Amorim. And I think the tightrope or the leash should be very, very short.
I totally agree with you with everything you said. However, there's some things that I'm just looking at because I want the best for Man United. You're right. We are 90 minutes away from having the most gaziest season we've ever had in our lives. And even still, if we do win this Europa League against Spurs, it will just be thanks, but let's just forget this ever happened. 2, I still think, this is why I think Amorim is the guy. And I'm quite confident that I feel like he will succeed at Man United. I feel like he will succeed at Man United is because 1, I know what rebuilds are. 2, he said it from day one. Like, he didn't even have to manage us. His first game was Ipswich away. Before he done that, he done an interview with Gary Neville, and I recommend people to go and watch it and listen to what he says. He says, we can't run. This guy can't pass. Bear in mind, this was only from what he saw in training. If you're losing the ball in training, these guys are not good. Bear in mind what I said earlier. Man United have been in relegation form, not only with 2025, we were in relegation form in 2024 with under Ten Hag. Ten Hag just got away with it a lot of time. I remember there was a graphic of the Premier League last year under Ten Hag of where teams were and where their XG was supposed to be. We were 8th and our XG was supposed to be around like 15th, 16th. So right now we're kind of performing the way we're supposed to perform with this squad. That's not an excuse, that's just the facts. Secondly, giving the keys to Amorim doesn't mean we have to sign Amorim type of players, because there's no football player that says, I play in 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-3 and that's it. I can't play any other formation. That's not how football works. Yes, I get that, you know what, wing, like, you might spy a person like Dorgu, for example, who, you know what, his best attributes fit the wing-back role. But when he was at Lecce, he was playing right wing or he was playing left back. He weren't playing 3 at the back. The same way that Victor Gyökeres now played under Amorim, had his best football under Amorim, but if he goes to Arsenal are going to be like, but he plays in a 3-4-3. How is he going to work in Arteta's system? Football doesn't work like that. So I still don't mind giving Amorim the keys to the kingdom when it comes to buying players, because we need a lot of players. This squad is terrible. And I'm going to look into the camera here and I'm going to look at Man United fans. If we so go on and win the Europa League, yeah, do not let that paper over what has happened this season. Don't let it, like, I get a trophy's fun and a trophy's great, but just say thank you, enjoy it, but enjoy it about us being disciplined, but remind yourselves, and I'm glad that we're kind of, you know what, I'm kind of glad that we're losing week in, week out in the Premier League, because it's just a friendly reminder that these guys are insane. The people that are playing for Man United right now do not deserve to, and I'm not going to name names because we work in the industry and I don't really want to like jeopardize anything that's going on. But there's a lot of people in that Man United squad that right now that do not deserve to be at Man United, that are not good enough. And I wish them all the best elsewhere. And you're seeing it right now. Anthony's living his best life, bro. It's not like he's a bad footballer. In the Premier League, we all thought he was terrible. Under Man United, we thought he was terrible. He's doing all right at Betis. He's in a European final. Could put something on Newman's head tops. Who knows? He probably won't, but you know what I mean. So there's a lot of people that just don't need to be here anymore. And I think Amorim discussed, and Amorim knows that. He said it in his press conference yesterday. He said, listen, we need to be brave in the summer. And and if this still like this, and if this still goes on like this, I won't be here. Because he even said it himself. He's honest. And one thing I like about Amorim, he's honest. He knows what's going on. He knows this is gazy. He knows this cannot last. So I'm not worried, and I still trust him, because you know what? Even though with these results, they don't look good. Results are results. Man United are going to finish 16th, 17th, and that's not going to look good. And then even if we finish the Europa League is not going to be, when we see the Premier League table of 24, 25,
yeah,
it's not going to be like United finished 16th, but asterisk, they got the Europa League. That's not what it's going to be. It's just going to be United finished 16th, and we have to explain.
Or 17th.
Or 17th. And we have to explain what happened. So this isn't good. This is horrible, and we are rubbish. But I've gone through rebuilds before. I know what, like, it has to get worse for it to get better.
It's never been this bad for anyone.
No, it's never been this bad for anyone.
When Liverpool went through their rebuild, right, and Jurgen Klopp took over from Brendan Rodgers, they were, I can't remember where they were in the league, but they weren't 16th or 17th.
No,
when Arteta took over,
they were 8th and and I totally get it. And I'm not defending 16th or 17th, Quakes, but I'm sorry, the players we have, not only is the players we have,
the players you have are better than being in this position right now.
No, they're not. No, they're not, bro. Okay.
Well, I think they are, because if you don't think that, then why do you think that under Ten Hag you wouldn't be in this position?
Because as I alluded to last season, that graphic showed the XG we were under Ten Hag, we were somehow outperformed. And if you go remember, a lot of the games under 2024, because under Ten Hag, remember we were losing to Palace like 4-0.
You think every manager, any manager that would have come in would still be in this position right now?
No, I don't think they'll be 17th.
That's what we want.
Oh, they'll be in second page in the table. No one will be in top 10.
Okay, cool.
This is not like, this is a mid-table team.
And that's cool, but you're not even mid-table. That's the problem. You're not even mid-table. You are JJing with teams that are worried about their
we've been in relegation form for the past, like, since 2024, we've been in relegation form.
Yeah, but like in football, nothing's ever perfect, right? Managers come into imperfect situations. Managers come in halfway through the season all the time. They come in halfway through the season all the time. This doesn't happen, man. Like,
it doesn't, but I know why it's happening.
If this was to happen, say a manager came in when Amorim came in, and he came in and performed like this at like a Leicester, or like a team that a lot worse, Man United, this manager, they'll be talking about sacking him.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that obviously you got the dangling carrot and the hope of winning the Europa League. And I agree with you in terms of what.
So why do you think we shouldn't sack Amorim?
Why you shouldn't?
Yeah,
because you've committed now, and there's the mitigating factors. There's a few mitigating factors, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you said in terms of the noise that he's made from the day dot about how long it's going to take, what the problems are at Manchester United. I agree with it, but there's also such a thing as I did PGCSE, right? And I was great. I was great at the practical, the theory, whatever.
Yeah.
The theory of Amorim is great. His theory is amazing. What he's saying is amazing. All the noise he's saying is amazing. The practical, in terms of the performances, the practical is not good enough. And that's just the facts of the matter. And we live in a practical world. Football's a practical sport. You can be the most in tune tactical manager in the world, but if the players aren't performing on the pitch and you're losing games, your head rolls. And my issue is, or not even my issue because I'm not a Manchester United fan. My question is, Tony, what's the goals for next season? What is obviously, you need to see what happens in the summer. That's a huge part of it. But what is your expectation for Manchester United next season in terms of league performance? Where do you reckon Man United will finish?
We need to compete on two fronts in the Premier League and Champions League.
So give me a league position.
I can't give you a league position because summer hasn't happened.
Can you give me the parameters of where you think you should finish?
I can't, Quakes. And
so is it bottom half or top half?
No, top half. Come on, bro.
Okay.
I literally said we need to compete in the Premier League and Champions League, and Amorim said this too.
It's competing, qualifying for the Champions League.
Yeah,
season.
Yeah. And bro, Amorim's been saying this, bro. He said this. He said, do you know what I love about him as well? He's been saying like, I couldn't. Even though he shouldn't be saying this, for some fans he shouldn't be saying this, but he's telling everyone where it is. He's like, you man are all worried about the final. I ain't worried about the final.
He needs to be worried about the final.
No, he doesn't, because this job is bigger than the final. Don't get it twisted. Winning the Europa League will be great because it will make the process quicker. But
if you lose,
we need to break these niggas down and start again. I don't think you understand.
If you lose the Europa League final and don't qualify for the Champions League, the caliber of players that you're going to attract is going to be, because this is the reason why, and people call me crazy for it, right?
I don't think the caliber of players is gonna.
I'm a Chelsea fan, yeah, and I've gone on multiple platforms and said I would prefer Spurs to win the Europa League than the Man United. Point one is that Chelsea fans view Spurs as rivals, and I do to an extent as well. But growing up, them man never used to beat us. They never used to do anything against us. They never used to get one over on us. In our worst season previous to the season that we finished 12th, when we finished 10th, and Spurs were competing for the title, we still pissed on their parade by the Battle of the Bridge and getting that draw and handing the title to Leicester. Spurs have never been rivals. So for me, Manchester United winning the Europa League and qualifying for the Champions League will mean that because of the size of the club, they can attract the type of players that we want to attract. They become more of a problem next season for teams that want to compete, because Manchester United are still Manchester United. But if you lose that Europa League final, that changes. The finances available changes, and also the ability to attract top players changes as well, because Champions League football is Champions League football. Another point in terms of Manchester United is, we talked about the strikers that you need, right? And you giving your preferential choice in terms of Victor Osimhen, that doesn't look like it's going to happen because of the price tag, because of how much his wages are. We've heard in recent days, recent hours, that Liam Delap is leaning towards moving to Manchester United. I talked to somebody who's close to Delap and the situation, and he said the choices are Manchester United or Chelsea. He's choosing Manchester United, obviously from up north or whatever. So it looks like that deal is moving towards, not moving towards completion, but it looks like that's the kind of caliber of player you're going to attract. For me, that is not an indictment. That's indicative of the type of players you're going to go for in the summer. We're not going to see a £70 million player come back to Manchester United. We're going to see players that are 20, 30, 40, 50 million. And I just don't know where that gets you next season, especially if you don't qualify for the Champions League.
Yeah, but we don't need to buy it. Like, Man United's problem has been buying these 70 million players and they're not performing. We need to buy the players that can
So
perform.
Liam Delap is what are you saying on him?
I just don't think Liam Delap is good enough to lead the line at United. Yeah, I just think United to be the striker and the number 9 of United. I think Liam Delap's a good player. I think he's done it in the Premier League, and I've said I think he's gonna have a good career. But to have that on his shoulders next season, I'm just not sure if he's ready for it yet. But hey, if he proves me wrong, so be it. But this is the thing: we just need to sign players who are half decent, bro. Like the players we have right now are terrible. Like not only, and this has been happening for years. It's happening under Ten Hag as well. Not only do we get like out bullied by players physically in the Premier League, like teams with like Bournemouth and West Ham have like better players than us technically, bro.
Yeah,
it's not even just like, oh, physically these men are not good enough. Technically, it's physically and technically. So I'm not like us being 15th and 16th. I'm actually kind of not surprised because there's so many teams I can look at and be like, you have better than players than us. You have better than players than us. You have better than players. Do you know what I mean? Or you can like, when did I ever grow?
Coaching should change that.
I don't. Coaching can't change that all the time.
There's no
bro.
reason for Man United to be 16th.
Nah, bro.
No
but
reason.
no. Yeah, but you need to get out the notion that Man United just shouldn't like that. There's just a flaw with Man United.
But any team, okay, cool. You finished 8th last season. That was your worst ever Premier League season. That was even worse than David Moyes' season. Any team in the Premier League, right? No matter what happens, no matter who comes in, if one season you finish in a certain position and next season you finish 7 places lower, I don't care that the squad's not good enough. I don't care that a new manager comes in. That is unacceptable. Say Chelsea one season finishes 6th like we did last season, and then the following season we finished 13th. Like that is unacceptable.
Bro,
and heads will roll.
Yeah, so instead of Amorim's heads rolling, because every
I'm
time
not saying his head should roll.
I agree. I think heads should roll too, and I will happily do it myself. But the people's heads that need to roll are the players, bro. It's every time it's the manager. We're quick to blame the managers, the players, bro. Just look at the players. You saw how many times have we produced a show on Thursday and we're watching United because we have to. We're watching it, and you're just seeing it. You're just like, what are these men doing? Like, do you remember what Stuart Pearce was saying when during who did we have in Bilbao? He was just like, these guys are just playing within themselves. Like that first half against Bilbao, that you couldn't even blame Amorim. Amorim was just looking at what the hell are these men doing?
So
these men couldn't even.
Does he deserve any blame?
Yes, yeah. No, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve any blame, but Amorim deserves blame because at the end of the day, he's the manager, and that's just the job. That's just part and parcel of the job. But I'm not going to blame a manager when a player can't make a 5-yard pass. I'm not going to like. That's just. I can't blame a manager for that. I'm seeing what I'm seeing, and there are so many players at Man United that should not and do not need to be here next season, and Amorim has admitted that. And bro, rebuilds are like, we watch American sports. This is what happens with rebuilds, bro. I remember when OKC, before they became OKC and Sam Presti picked up all those picks. Do you remember when they lost to Memphis by how much?
But bro,
by like 56. It happens with a rebuild. It has to get worse to get better.
But we can't. That's apples to oranges, because in the NBA, you get rewarded for playing poorly, right? You get rewarded in terms of the draft lottery. You get rewarded in terms of getting an opportunity to get the best players out of college. You don't get any reward for finishing 16th or 17th.
No, we're not.
You get absolutely.
But this is part and parcel of a rebuild.
So a rebuild in the NBA is that sometimes it's intentional losing. I can't say that this is intentional losing in the Premier League.
No, this isn't intentional losing.
This is just stark and spooky and crazy and hilarious. And for Manchester United, if you don't win that final in Bilbao, brother, you won't change. I won't change. But there are a lot of Manchester United fans who will be looking at it being like, are we really going to proceed with a manager that finished 16th or 17th?
And I don't blame them, because I can't blame them because he's losing the moderates.
The indictment as well. That should be a title of the pod. Losing the moderates, because there are people that maybe are in the grey area, not too sure, Amorim in or Amorim out. But when you start to see you losing week in and week out, it's very troubling. And I'm confused, bro. I'm confused by
open the door, close the door. I am so confused.
Let's bring Zach into this, right? Because Zach's like kind of new to watching ball week in, week out. Like, I feel like because of his relationship with you, he's got a bit of an affinity for Manchester United. Yeah, and when I talk to Harriet about Manchester United, right? She's like, Kweku, I don't understand why you get yourself so worked up about it. Because ever since I've been watching football, these men have been trash. And so, Zach, from your point of view, yeah, from like an outsider, looking at Manchester United and seeing them lose week in, week out, but being in the final of the Europa League, what's your thoughts on it?
I
I'm on Tony's side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like if you look at the situation, these men forced my man into the team. They said, if you're coming, if you want to come here, you're coming now. And yeah, I'm just like, what can he do? Like, I don't think it's enough to put him on the stake. But I don't have the history of like, I ain't got the context.
But sometimes removing the context is key.
It's
Just
key,
take
yeah.
it from what you're
Just take
seeing
it,
right now.
yeah.
From what you're seeing right now without the context,
It's
bro.
gazy, innit?
When you're working at TalkSport and you're editing those videos and week in, week out is Man United losing.
Is Amorim with his head there?
What are you thinking?
When you're making
Zach?
them Amorim Ulays, yeah, what are you thinking? You ain't seen Amorim smile, blood.
What are you thinking, Zach?
I went from this isn't Amrin's fault to, I don't know. I went from completely being on Amrin's side to now he's got I don't know, man.
The leash is short, right?
Yeah.
The leash is short next
Oh,
season.
bro, I
next
totally agree with
cool.
you.
So let's say we all agree in this room.
Yeah.
Zach as well. He shouldn't lose his job. I think it'll be kind of insane to sack him. Yeah. How many games is next season? How many league games is next season? Say next season you start off first 10 league games. You've lost 6 of them.
Oh, he's gone.
You've
He's
won
gone.
2 and you've drawn 2.
He's gone. He's gone. He knows it. He said it.
Okay.
He said it. Like, this guy's too honest for his liking, for his own liking. So he says these kind of things. He says like, bro, if this carries on next season, I will not be here.